friends, and welcome to Gazelle's Quality Assurance Training video. We are going to give you a brief overview of the more important points in QA. But remember, this is just an overview of the process, and it is up to you to make sure you're as well versed in your specific categories as possible. Why? Because you fine people are our last line of defense against a poor customer experience. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am!
Then let's get started. For this video, we will be following the QA process of a cell phone, since nearly 50% of our overall volume is within the cell phone market. But again, you will be trained extensively within your personal category. And remember to ask our training supervisors as many questions as you need. They're here to help. Let's start with a few QA tools you will all be using. First up, the MC. The MC, or Merchandise Console, will be your main tool in supplying quality assurance to our customers. You can reach this page by scanning the item's SR number into the search bar in the upper right side of the screen. This will bring the item up on the screen. Now go ahead and click that bad boy and we'll be taken to the item home screen. After clicking the Inspection tab, you'll see both what our customer and your friendly inspector thought of the product you now hold in your hand. This page will be used as sort of a QA checklist when re-inspecting the product. You'll be going back and forth from this screen, so be sure to utilize the tabs function on your browser. Now, before we get started, a few key points to remember when doing a QA on an item. For Gazelle, QA means quality assurance, that everything we do is correct based on the device and situation. Unlike much other QA though, Gazelle quality is focused on the customer who's connected to the inspection. The seriousness of an error is determined by how strongly it would affect a customer. Remember this point, as we will be getting back to it as we dive deeper into the QA process. Now, back to your regularly scheduled inspection console. Before we start going down the list and re-inspecting the item, you'll want to make sure all your tools are there in front of you. These tools include the inspection console, which you should currently have up, the QA spreadsheet, and the QA error code list. The QA worksheet should be a Google Docs spreadsheet, whereas the QA error code list should be a physical sheet of paper in front of you. Both will be provided to you by your supervisor. Since we've already taken a quick look at the inspection screen, let's get acquainted with the QA worksheet. The QA worksheet is a Google Docs spreadsheet created to help you record each and every QA'd item you do. The information provided on the QA worksheet helps Gazelle best serve our customers, delivering a crazy awesome experience. The spreadsheet is broken up like so. The first column for the initials of the person performing the QA, the second for the QA date, then the item's received date, the item's SR number, data wiper for laptops only, the inspector's name, then 4 cells available for error codes, of which we'll speak later on. The error details, the item category, the device name, the original status, and lastly, questions and comments. How about one more time for good measure? You get all that? Now we'll move on to the error code sheet. But remember, these are your tools within quality assurance, and you should make it easy for yourself to go back and forth between all of them. This is easily done by, yep, you got it, using the tabs option on your browser. Look at you, learning so quickly. The error code sheet is your one tool that will be a printed hard copy, so be sure to keep it in an accessible place. The error sheet is broken up like so. The error code itself in the first field, next, the error type, the buy or sell side, the type of error in detail, severity of the error, and further explanation of the error type. Let's get a little more in depth with our error code itself. The first number in the code is for the overall category of error, so condition, data, accessories, etc. The second number, after the dash, is the specific error within that category. The letter is the severity. A is major errors, B is minor errors. C is incidental, or could be better, and doesn't count as an error, although we still track it for future improvement. A star after the code indicates the error is not a result of inspector negligence. The circumstances are explained in the details column. The type column is a simple brief description of the sort of error it is. For instance, is there a model error, an accessory issue, or perhaps a problem with the specifications of the item itself? This information goes in the first column. Now the buyer-sell side column is also fairly easy to understand. Who does this error affect? The buyer of the item or the person that sold us the item? Or, in some cases, both. The type detail column will better explain the error. For instance, if a functionality error was listed in the type column, here we would explain if the inspector missed a tripped watermark or an issue that rendered the device defective. The next column tells us of the severity, and lastly, a little further explanation of each code. This error code sheet is a great tool to use in conjunction with the MC's inspection tab. For example, if the inspection tells you that there is a USB cable included with your item, but there is no USB cable to be found, you'll know to go to the accessories portion of the error codes by scrolling through the types of errors. Then you'll come to notice that the code you are looking for is the 81A error code, marked included when it is missing. This means the customer we are selling the phone to believes they are getting the accessory with the phone that is not actually there, which turns the severity of this error to major, as it may inconvenience our customer. See now, there's poor Joe, paid good money for a phone he can't even charge. Hope you had need for another paperweight, Joe. We won't be hearing from him again unless it's in the form of a complaint letter. So you see, it's important to be thorough and diligent in your QA, as you are our last chance in making sure good old Joe here gets a good customer experience. Because who knows what the future holds.
Hey, do you work for Gazelle?
I sure do.
Well, I just got a phone from you and everything worked out just fantastically. Did I mention that I'm enormously rich and would love to give you a lot of money?
Gee, thanks, mister.
Ah yes, one can dream. Now that you have all the tools at your disposal, the procedure is simple. Re-inspect the item. Do so using the inspection already entered into the MC, and you'll have a great checklist to follow through your QA. Things such as, makes a call successfully. Was the AC adapter, rechargeable battery, or original cables included? Take a look at the overall condition. And most importantly, is all customer data erased? All contacts, photos, favorites, etc. must be removed from the item. If all these fields are filled out correctly, then we'll be able to move on to the next item. If not, you'll have to consult the error sheet. Let's say, for example, the inspection says there is a rechargeable battery included with the phone. However, there is no battery to be found. Moving over to the QA error sheet, we can find the appropriate code. In this case, as the battery is not part of the actual phone, we'll look for accessory codes. Then there it is, the same code we found when the USB cable was missing, 81A. Now go to the worksheet and fill out your appropriate fields. And be sure to correct any mistakes you found in the merch prep section of the MC. A missing accessory is one of the easier errors you'll be running into. You will, however, run into many different issues that require a little more knowledge about the item. That is why it is imperative that you learn your category as well as possible. One of these errors may be item's condition. Item condition errors simply mean your opinion of the final condition differs from the inspector of the item, and the reason why should be specifically noted in the error details section of the worksheet. For example, perhaps when inspecting the item now in your possession, the inspector did not notice the split housing on the side of the phone and labeled it in perfect condition. This could be a big problem if the customer expecting a perfect phone receives one like this. So it is very important to catch and log these mistakes. Turn to the error sheet and begin to search for the appropriate error code. In this case, the item was listed perfect when clearly it is not. So the listing condition was recorded too high. Now we have two choices under further explanation column. You'll find a significant problem missed with a crack listed with a few other common defects. That looks like our error code, all right. So fill in the worksheet code field with 21A and be sure to document something along the lines of small crack in housing, changing listing condition, in the error details column. Now, we can't stress this enough. The most important part of being a QA inspector is knowing your category inside and out. Every category at Gazelle is unique in its inspection process. And please, always feel free to ask your supervisor any questions you may have about any of our items. And remember these key points that will help you along the way. Know your tools, the QA worksheet. This will give us a useful window into what our inspectors are doing right and what we need to work on in the future, keeping us accountable and making sure every Gazelle customer is 100% satisfied. The error code sheet. Keep the sheet close at hand as it gives us a great look at exactly what errors were caught and their severity. And who wants to memorize all those codes anyway? Not me. The inspection console. This lends as a perfect QA checklist when re-inspecting the items. And lastly, the most important tool of all, a strong knowledge of your category. I mean, how do you really know if someone else inspected something properly if you don't fully understand the item yourself? So remember, please feel free to ask as many questions as you need, as we're in this together, and we're here to help. Gazelle, keep it moving.